The Aurelian Star Court was a place where danger was not supposed to exist. The palace floated in slow orbit above a sapphire gas giant, its white gold towers shining under artificial suns. Every surface was smooth, every sound carefully controlled. The Aurelian people believed chaos was a sign of poor evolution, and their society was built to remove it completely. Princess Sailira walked through the central hall with calm steps, her long robes drifting behind her like liquid light. Her species was tall, slender, and almost fragile-looking. Their skin shimmered softly, changing color with emotion, though they trained themselves to keep it steady. Guards lined the hall, elegant and ceremonial, holding energy staffs they had never needed to use. Behind her walked Elias Ward. He did not belong. Elias was human, broad-shouldered, heavy compared to the Aurelians, and dressed in a simple dark uniform instead of ceremonial armor. His boots made soft but real sounds against the polished floor. His eyes moved constantly, not fast, not nervous, but aware. He watched reflections in the walls. He counted distances without meaning to. He noticed the way air vents were angled and how shadows fell just slightly wrong near one pillar. He had been assigned as her protector 3 days ago. No one understood why. Humans were new to the interstellar concord. They came from a noisy world filled with storms, predators, and constant conflict. Their technology was practical, not elegant. Their diplomacy was blunt. Their emotions were obvious. Most older species saw them as unstable and unnecessary. The assignment had come through a random selection system meant to show fairness among member species. The system had chosen a human. Many believed it was a mistake. Princess Sailira stopped near the center of the hall as members of the High Court gathered around. Their glowing eyes studied Elias openly. Some showed polite interest, others showed clear discomfort. "He is very large," one noble whispered, not quietly enough. "He blinks too often," said another. "He keeps staring at the ceiling," a third added. Elias heard all of it. He did not react. Princess Sailira turned slightly toward him. "You may stand here," she said gently. "Yes, Your Highness," Elias replied. His voice was calm, flat, respectful. He stood half a step behind her and to the side, placing himself between her and the widest open space in the hall without thinking about it. The court session began. Politics flowed like slow water. Trade routes. Cultural exchanges. Long speeches filled with careful words that said very little. Princess Sailira listened patiently, answering when needed. Elias listened too, but not to the words. He listened to timing, to movement, to patterns. Halfway through the session, something felt wrong. It was small, almost nothing. The temperature dropped by less than 1 degree. No one else noticed. The Aurelians preferred cool air, and the change was within comfort levels. But Elias felt it on his skin. His instincts, shaped by a world that punished inattention, quietly woke up. He shifted his weight. The vents above adjusted again, releasing a soft mist meant to maintain humidity. Elias frowned slightly. The mist was too thick, just barely. He took 1 step closer to the princess. "Sir Ward?" she asked quietly, surprised. "Air change," he murmured. "Stay close." Before she could ask what he meant, the mist thickened suddenly. A chemical reaction triggered by the palace lighting system activated the particles. Not lethal, not obvious, designed to slow neural response and induce weakness. A perfect Aurelian assassination. Princess Sailira's knees weakened. Elias moved. He wrapped one arm around her, supporting her weight, and reached into his belt with the other hand. He activated a compact filter mask and pressed it over her face. Then he held his breath and dragged her backward toward a sealed side corridor. The guards froze. They had no protocol for this. Their weapons were ceremonial, Their training assumed threats would be announced, debated, and prevented long before action was needed. Elias kicked the emergency seal panel with his boot. It dented instead of breaking, but the impact was enough to trigger the manual override. The door slid shut behind them with a sharp hiss. Inside the corridor, Elias leaned the princess against the wall and finally took a breath through his own mask. "Can you stand?" he asked. She nodded weakly, eyes wide. "What? What was that?" she whispered. "Someone tried to slow you down," he said simply, "probably to make it look like illness." Her skin flickered with shock. But no alarms sounded. "They didn't want alarms," Elias replied. "They wanted time." Security forces finally reacted. The mist dispersed. Panic spread quietly through the court. Within minutes, Elias found himself standing alone before the High Council. Princess Sailira had been taken to medical observation and was already recovering. The room was smaller than the main hall, but heavier with authority. Elder nobles stared at Elias with expressions ranging from disbelief to anger. "You violated court protocol," one elder said sharply. "You used force," another added. "You damaged palace property," a third said, pointing to a display showing the dented panel. Elias stood straight, hands at his sides. "Yes," he said. Silence followed. "Yes?" the first elder repeated. "Yes, I did all of that," Elias said calmly. "Because it worked." The elders bristled. "Our systems are designed to prevent threats," one snapped. "Your systems assume threats will follow your rules," Elias replied. "Some won't. You are accusing members of this court," another said coldly. "I'm saying someone used your environment against you," Elias answered. "If you don't look for how, they'll try again." Princess Sailira entered the chamber then, supported, but steady. "Enough," she said. The elders turned to her immediately. "Saved my life," she continued. "Whether the threat was small or not does not matter." He noticed what none of you did. She looked at Elias. "You acted without hesitation," she said softly.
"Yes, Your Highness," he replied.
"Why?" she asked. "You had no proof, no confirmation." Elias met her eyes. "Because where I come from," he said, "waiting for proof gets people killed." The room was silent again. That night, Elias stood outside the princess's private quarters. The corridor was quiet. Lights dimmed to rest levels. No one else was posted nearby. The palace trusted distance and design. Elias did not. He adjusted his stance, testing his muscles. His body was heavy from gravity training. His bones denser than most species. His mind refused to relax. Inside the room, Princess Sailira sat awake, staring at the ceiling. She had nearly died without ever seeing a weapon. For the first time in her life, safety felt like something fragile. Outside, her human protector watched the hallway without blinking, unaware that the palace's opinion of him was already changing. Humans, the court would soon realize, did not need permission to protect. They only needed a reason. The palace did not feel the same after the incident. The halls were still clean, the lights still soft, and the air still carefully balanced. But something invisible had changed. Conversations stopped when Elias passed. Court members watched him longer than before, not with mockery now, but with calculation. Elias noticed everything. He walked 3 steps behind Princess Sailira as she moved through the eastern gallery. His pace matched hers exactly. When she slowed, he slowed. When she stopped, he stopped. He had learned her rhythm without effort. "You do not need to follow so closely," she said quietly, without turning around. "Yes, I do," Elias replied. She glanced back at him, a small flicker of color crossing her skin. Amusement, mixed with curiosity. "You speak very directly," she said. "It saves time," he answered. She did not argue. The High Council had ordered a full review of palace security. Meetings stretched longer than usual. Committees formed to investigate committees. Reports were written, rewritten, and carefully softened. Elias was not invited to any of them. Instead, he learned by watching. He noticed which nobles avoided eye contact with the princess. He noticed who suddenly left rooms when he entered. He noticed which guards stood straighter around him and which grew stiff with resentment. One afternoon, a senior court official approached him while the princess spoke with diplomats. "You have caused disruption," the official said calmly. "I stopped an attack," Elias replied. "You embarrassed powerful people," the official corrected. Elias tilted his head slightly. "Then they should be embarrassed." The official's skin darkened in irritation. "You are a temporary assignment," they said. "Do not forget your place." Elias did not raise his voice. "My place is between her and danger." The official left without replying. Princess Celira watched the exchange from across the room. Later, in a quiet corridor, she spoke to him again. "They do not like you," she said. "I noticed," Elias replied. "You are making enemies." "I already had enemies," he said. "I just didn't know their faces yet." She stopped walking. "You are not afraid," she said slowly. Elias thought for a moment. "I am," he said. But fear doesn't get a vote. That answer stayed with her. Over the following days, Elias began changing routines. He took care of his body. Not openly, not aggressively, small adjustments. He asked simple questions that made people uncomfortable. Why does this corridor not have independent power? Why does that guard rotation repeat every cycle? Why is medical response routed through 3 approvals? Each question was polite. Each question forced answers no one liked. Princess Celira started asking him for his thoughts before meetings. "What do you think of this, ambassador?" she asked one morning. "He's lying," Elias said. Her eyes widened slightly. "How can you tell?" "He keeps agreeing too fast," Elias replied. "People telling the truth need time to think." She considered that. During a formal dinner, Elias noticed a servant's hands shaking while pouring a drink for the princess. He intercepted the glass smoothly and replaced it without explanation. The servant was quietly removed for questioning. No poison was found. Still, the message was clear. Someone was testing boundaries. That night, Princess Celira could not sleep. She found Elias standing at his post, perfectly still. "Do humans ever rest?" she asked. He smiled faintly. "We take turns." She hesitated, then said, "Walk with me." Protocol did not allow it. Elias ignored protocol. They walked along the inner balcony, the gas giant glowing beneath them. "You could leave," she said suddenly. "Request reassignment. You would be safer." Elias shook his head. "I gave my word." "You owe me nothing," she said. "I know," he replied. "That's why it matters." She studied him, seeing not a soldier, not a guard, but a person who chose responsibility without reward. The next morning, the High Council summoned her. Elias followed, of course. The elders spoke carefully. But the message was clear. Her protector was becoming a problem. He disrupted tradition. He questioned authority. He inspired uncertainty. One elder spoke plainly. "We believe your safety can be ensured without such measures." Princess Celira stood tall. "My safety was ensured by him," she said. "That was coincidence," another elder argued. "Coincidence does not happen twice," she replied. They proposed restrictions, reduced access, limited authority. Elias listened quietly. When they finished, Princess Celira turned to him. "What happens if these restrictions are enforced?" she asked. Elias answered honestly, "Your risk goes up." Silence filled the chamber. "You see," an elder snapped. "Even he admits he is honest," the princess interrupted. "That is why I trust him." The council delayed their decision. Outside the chamber, Elias exhaled slowly. "They're going to try something," he said. She looked at him. "How do you know?" "Because they feel cornered," he replied. "People make bad choices when they feel cornered." That evening, the palace lights flickered just once, enough for Elias to react. He moved instantly, pulling the princess into a shielded alcove as power rerouted. A drone malfunctioned nearby, crashing harmlessly but loudly. Security rushed in too late again. This time, there was no doubt. Princess Silira faced the council hours later. "They will keep trying," she said. "Through law, through environment, through delay." The elders looked troubled. "There is an ancient provision," one said reluctantly. "A legal solution." Princess Silira turned. "Explain." "If a protector is bound not by assignment but by blood and title," the elder said, "their authority becomes absolute." Elias stiffened slightly. Princess Silira understood immediately. "No," Elias said firmly. "Absolutely not." The elder continued. "A royal decree of union. Rare. Oh, permanent." The room fell silent. Princess Silira looked at Elias. "I would never force you," she said softly. Elias met her gaze. "I won't be used as a political tool." She nodded. "Nor would I allow it." But the idea had already been released into the room, and ideas, Elias knew, were harder to stop than attacks. That night, as he stood guard once more, Elias understood something clearly. Protecting the princess was no longer just about watching corridors. It was about surviving a system that did not know how to handle a human who refused to look away. And somewhere deep within the palace, decisions were being prepared that would change both their lives forever. The palace felt smaller after the idea was spoken aloud. A royal union. The words did not echo in the halls, but they stayed in the air, invisible and heavy. Every noble who heard them reacted differently. Some felt relief, some felt fear, some felt anger. All of them understood one thing clearly. If it happened, nothing would ever be the same. Elias walked behind Princess Silira as usual, but his thoughts were louder than his footsteps. He did not like being cornered. He did not like solutions that removed choice. And he especially did not like the idea of becoming a symbol instead of a person. Princess Silira sensed his tension. "You are angry," she said quietly as they entered her private study. "I don't like being discussed like equipment," Elias replied. She nodded. "Nor do I." The door sealed automatically, leaving them alone. For a moment, neither spoke. "The council will push this," she said finally.
They believe it is clean, legal.
"Final. And you?" Elias asked. She hesitated. "I believe it would protect the crown," she said honestly. "And I believe it would trap you." Elias exhaled slowly. "Then it's a bad solution." "Bad solutions are popular in politics," she replied. Outside the room, the court moved quickly. Messages were sent through secure channels. Ancient legal texts were retrieved. Advisors whispered behind privacy fields. News spread faster than anyone intended. By the next day, half the palace knew. By the day after that, the Interstellar Concord knew. Humans were not told officially. They noticed when ambassadors started asking strange questions. Elias began receiving requests to speak with nobles, diplomats, and security officials. He refused most of them. Princess Silira noticed something else. People no longer looked at Elias as a servant. They looked at him as a threat. One afternoon, she watched from a balcony as two senior nobles argued quietly nearby. A human consort. One hissed, "Unthinkable." They are adaptable, the other replied. That is exactly why it works. Sayela felt a flicker of emotion ripple across her skin. Fear mixed with guilt. That evening, she summoned Elias again. You should leave, she said suddenly. He frowned. We already discussed this. I am serious, she continued. Return to your people. The council cannot force this if you are not here. Elias looked at her for a long time. And if I leave, he said slowly, what happens to you? She did not answer. That's what I thought, he said. She turned away, struggling to keep her composure. You deserve a choice, she said. I will not take that from you. Elias stepped closer. Then don't. But don't pretend this only affects me. The following day, the High Council made its move. They summoned both of them together. The chamber was full. Elders, legal scholars, military advisors, and representatives from allied species stood in quiet rows. The air shimmered faintly with tension. The eldest counselor spoke. The Aurelian crown faces continued internal and external threats, they said. Traditional security has failed. Elias remained silent. To ensure absolute authority for the princess's protector, the counselor continued, we propose invoking the ancient bond clause. Princess Salira straightened. This clause allows the crown to bind a protector by royal union, the counselor said, granting them full legal authority and responsibility. Elias stepped forward. No, he said clearly. Murmur spread through the chamber. The counselor raised a hand. The decree does not require consent. Princess Sayalera's voice cut through the room. Then it will not happen. The chamber froze. You would refuse the council? One elder asked sharply. Yes, she said. I will not sacrifice another person to protect myself. Silence followed. Then a legal advisor spoke. Carefully. There is an alternative interpretation. All eyes turned. If the decree is issued not as command, the advisor said, but as acceptance of a voluntary bond, the crown's authority remains intact. She looked back. This time, she did not look like a princess. She looked like someone making a difficult choice. I will not order you, she said softly. I will ask. The chamber held its breath. Will you stand with me? She continued, not because you must, but because you choose to. Elias felt every eye on him. He thought of Earth, of a loud, broken world that raised humans to adapt or fail, of promises given lightly and broken often, of responsibility avoided. He met her gaze. I will not be owned, he said. She nodded. Nor would I want you to be. I will not be silent, he continued. I need your voice, she replied. I will protect you, he said, even when you are wrong. A faint smile touched her face. Especially then. Elias took a breath. Then I choose to stand with you, he said. The chamber erupted in noise. Some protested, some objected, some watched in stunned silence. The royal decree was issued within the hour. Across the Concord, the reaction was immediate. News feeds flooded with disbelief. Analysts argued. Commentators questioned Aurelian judgment. Some praised the move as bold. Others called it dangerous. Human channels exploded, a human bound by royal decree to an alien crown. Elias did not watch any of it. That night, he stood in ceremonial attire he had not chosen, beside Princess Salira in a quiet antechamber. You can still walk away, she said. So can you, he replied. She looked at him. I won't. Neither will I, he said. The ceremony itself was simple. No romance, no spectacle. Just words spoken clearly and recorded forever. Authority shifted. The palace felt it immediately. Security systems accepted Elias's commands without delay. Guards adjusted instinctively. Advisors hesitated before speaking around him. He felt no triumph, only weight. Later, alone again, Princess Sailira finally let herself breathe. "You didn't have to do this," she said quietly.
"Yes, I did," Elias replied. "Because now they can't move you without going through me." She studied him.
"That is not how most species think." He shrugged slightly. "We don't like bullies." For the first time since meeting him, she laughed softly. Outside the palace, the galaxy watched closely. Many expected disaster. What they did not expect was this. The princess did not lose her voice. The human did not seek power. Instead, something unfamiliar formed. A ruler and a protector bound not by dominance, but by shared responsibility. And somewhere far away, humanity realized one of their own had not conquered a throne. He had simply refused to step aside.